I entered the Terastal Crescendo on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and here's how it went. The Terastal Crescendo is an online event in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, where players must build a team of 6 Pokemon, choosing either Koraidon or Miraidon to spearhead the rest of the team. Your Koraidon or Miraidon will be paired with a partner Pokemon in a doubles 2v2 format, and face an opponent using their own box art legendary, as well as one of their own 5 team members. This is the team I chose in the end. While I started practicing with a Koraidon team, I ultimately decided Miraidon would be the better option, after several test matches on Showdown, as well as more applications and uses for the other members on the team. First is Miraidon. I chose it because during practice my Koraidon would fall too quickly to fairy moves, as well as its other weaknesses. Its only reliable spread move in Breaking Swipe was always outclassed by Dazzling Gleam from Miraidon. With Terra Fairy, it hits even harder. Even on a resisted hit, it's usually enough damage for either the partner Pokemon to finish it off, or knock it out on a subsequent Dazzling Gleam. It's also nice to bait out a Dragon move too. Electro Drift has a crazy multiplier with Stab, Terrain and Hadron Drive active. And Overheat is just a surprise move to catch out Steel types or Terrors, and benefits nicely off the Sunshine that Koraidon sets up. I built it quite bulky, with enough speed to surpass common threats, but unfortunately it doesn't outspeed the opponent's box art legendary about half the time. The Wise Glasses are a cool addition too. They don't suffer from the Life Orb's recoil damage that cost me games during practice. Next is Iron Bundle, nearly guaranteed to outspeed everything besides opposing Iron Bundle and Fluttermane. Despite its ability activating its speed boost, I needed a modest nature for certain KO ranges. If I can face teams without these 2 threats, it's just an easy Icy Wind to set up for turn 2. Freeze Dry does solid damage and can freeze, but I was also torn between it and Hydro Pump. Encore is just a funny move to click when the opponent protects too. If that's the case, I can just lock up games that way. Or if the opponent decides to set up, it's just game over for them. Terra Ground catches out opposing Miraidon, which I've done a few times, and if I fail, the Focus Sash is there to at least make it for a turn. It's also useful against opponents that try to use Electro Web or Prankster Thunder Wave. The Azumarill is just here for Perish Song. Nothing too crazy with this one. It checks Rillaboom and Wochien, I suppose, with Sap Sipper, and Terra Ground once again matches into opposing Miraidon perfectly, but its main appeal is just auto-winning after 3 turns of Perish Song. It's situational, however, as your Azumarill needs to be the slowest. Turn 1 you rely on your Miraidon to scare the opponent while clicking Perish Song. Then you either bounce to burn 2 turns and win with Protect, or you click Endure to activate the Custap Berry, meaning bounce will gain priority on the next turn, burning the final 2 turns in the air. It's admittedly a little gimmicky, and I only really use it when matchup demands, but when you can pull it off, it's diabolical. I'd never condone this method to win games, but, you know, it's there if I ever feel brave enough to cheese a game I would otherwise lose to. Another straightforward pick. Whimsicott performs similarly to Iron Bundle with speed control and Tailwind, without the worry for opposing Fluttermane or Iron Bundle. It can also fire off powerful Moonblasts. Encore makes a return to shut the game down, but it's more effective at locking other prankster users in such as Whimsicott, Tornadus and Grafaiai. With the Mental Herb, I can't be taunted either. Terra Ghost is there just in case there's a fake out lead, and allows me to have the Mental Herb over the Covert Cloak. Iron Hands with Bulk and Assault Vest sticks around turn after turn. It's a great option to shut down hyper-offensive teams, and can dish out sizable damage to clear opponents' health bars. Fake Out needs no explanation, as Miraidon benefits severely with a free turn. Stomping Tantrum works incredibly well if the opponent protects my Fake Out, or if my own Iron Hands is getting faked out. Stomping Tantrum also catches out opponents who Terra into Fire, Poison or Steel types to sponge Miraidon's Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam. Play Rough is just powerful coverage, and Ironhead catches out any Terra Fairy opponents. It also pairs nicely with its Terra Steel to capitalise on offensive and defensive play. Finally here's a Poundon who counters Koraidon and Miraidon really well. It shuts down Sunshine with its Sandstream ability, and its ground typing avoids any damage from electric moves. Its Electric Seed boosts its defense, and makes it an absolute unit against physical threats, as well as enough HP and special defense to shake off 1 or 2 special hits. Help in Hand enables Miraidon to unleash devastating Dazzling Gleam damage, and High Horsepower just follows up on any survivors, especially ones that once again tear away from their fairy weakness with Fire, Poison or Steel. Terra Grass is mainly for Rage Powder. If I see a jump bluff at all, I Terra immediately. It also helps out with water and grass damage for a turn. Paired with Sandstorm Chip, it's a safe pick for most options. With that breakdown out of the way, let's see how well I did each day of the Terastal Crescendo tournament. I kicked things off really well. It was a mirror match, so I had to scout out for Fake Out or Terra. Luckily, both targets were begging for Dazzling Gleam, so with little effort I'd secured game 1. The opponent had a tricky lead. I didn't want to take a final gambit, so I had to protect to see where Annihilate was targeting. Luckily after the Sandstorm chip, her Poundon was able to barely survive to be bait for an outrage. Once I saw the Dragon lock in, all I had to do was Terra Fairy for a guaranteed win. In this game, I should have just Terra Fairied instead of expecting Electro Drift. Spending your Terra is so tricky in these fast-paced games. I learned from the previous game and just spammed spread moves. The result was an instant forfeit. I hadn't faced the Lurantis during practice games, so I wasn't sure what to expect. I played it safe with Protect and was really surprised to see Worry Seed come out. I had the displeasure of facing a really bulky Porygon 2 that just wouldn't go down. I figured Perish Song would clear it, but Trick Room reversed the speed, meaning it was actually my opponent that went down last. A Miraidon with Thunder and Hyper Beam was definitely not on my bingo card. A pretty standard game. I'd built my Miraidon knowing a Terastal Ironhead wouldn't kill. Throughout the video you'll find a lot of my Koraidon matchups have me pick my bulky Hippowdon. This was an easy win. Terra Dazzling Gleam and Tailwind is so simple, yet so effective sometimes. I predicted Entei would have a choice item, so I had to Protect to scout out the lock-in. I targeted into Koraidon to great success, and my opponent forfeit. Terra Ground Chi-Yu and Covert Cloak Miraidon. I was caught with my pants down this game. It was so embarrassing. This game was tricky. I expected Choice Scarf make it rain, meaning I couldn't Terra Fairy, but I also couldn't take a Dazzling Gleam as a Dragon type. I also couldn't predict if Gholdengo would Terra away from its electric weakness, so I had to risk a 90% overheat. I got caught out with Electro Drift, but luckily I had survived, securing another win. Sunny Day on a bulky Whimsicott ruined everything this game. Even Koraidon was bulky enough to take hits, and even had a Citrus Berry for good measure. Well played, my opponent. This game speaks for itself, just watch the disrespect. My old enemy, Whimsicott and Terrify Koraidon. Encore would have ruined me, but luckily I was able to pull off the Perish Song strategy. Final game of day 1, my opponent must have chucked their Switch across the room. They disconnected and it stopped the footage from being captured as a result. Either way, I ended off Friday with a strong 11 wins. Day 2 and I was met with a dangerous Terastal. Luckily Sandstorm would save me, so I could focus into an equally dangerous Terra Ground Miraidon. My team loves sitting Chimpow, another fairly straightforward Dazzling Gleam spam. My first Sneasler encounter, I called the Fade Cut correctly and Terra Dazzling Gleam cleaned up the rest. Prime example of why Miraidon outclasses Koraidon in this format. I should have just tailwinded and spammed Dazzling Gleam. Slip-ups like that due to over-prediction will easily see you losing. Terra Ground came in clutch here, and I even managed to eat my custard berry. I seriously underestimated Terra Ice as a defensive typing. I called out Nuzzle and I had a strong lead, but I fumbled when the opponent Miraidon was a lot more bulky than I had anticipated. GG's. Another choice item on a Fire Beast. I took down Miraidon and that was the game. The live Wo Chien reaction couldn't save this trainer from being spammed Dazzling Gleam. Glaring Wheezing is so annoying in this format. I was happy to only be facing one across all 45 battles. You worry about it protecting, but if you don't target it, you end up getting wrecked. Another battle where my Perish Song strategy was countered by Trick Room. I can't even be mad. If you had the countermeasures for such a cheap strategy, you might as well showcase them. Damn, a light speed Miraidon with Tinglu also reducing my damage. Not only that, but weakness policy. My guy was ready for the reverse sweep if I didn't perfectly time my protects. It just goes to show how many different ways the same Pokemon can be built. Iron Treads is one of the main reasons I run Overheat. It saved me in this battle and could catch out opponents that don't expect a fire move. Another mirror match where unfortunately the special attack drop wasn't enough for me to survive. I have to wonder though, just how bulky Miraidon was. Not even half health after Dazzling Gleam is mad. One of those games where you have to time your Terastalization. I do love it when Sandstorm can shut down abilities and can cause enough chip damage to secure a win. Final game of day 2, and the focus dash surprised me. My only win was with Overheat, but I was worried about the damage, so I let Sandstorm get some chip in, and luckily I was able to land the attack without it missing. Before moving on to day 3, I just wanted to see if this is content you'd enjoy seeing more of. If you could like, comment, share and subscribe, it would really help me push this channel. Anyway, let's see how I did on the last day. The Icy Wind disrespect is real in this game. Just raw quadruple damage to pick up an anticlimactic win. Both sides shutting down weather and terrain, each with a seed to bolster defences. I knew that this was going to be a close game, and a true understanding from both sides just how complex such a simple format can be. See what I mean about terror timing? I took an electro drift like a champ because I hadn't terrored. The icy wind miss sucked, but luckily it wasn't detrimental to the end result. Yet another Ndidi matchup. I'll let the video play because there isn't much to discuss that hasn't already been mentioned. Terra fighting, what was this player thinking? Just an easy dazzling gleam for victory, paired with support from the Chippo. Double spread moves from my opponent proved too overwhelming for me. I'm proud of my head pounder for surviving, but even a helping hand wasn't enough to get through the onslaught. I'm glad my opponent realised just how much of a threat Hippowdon is. Too many players have been sleeping on this Chungus, but even after 3 stab hits it was still standing. Definitely the MVP for supporting Miraidon. Double Dragon Electric Touch could only mean Dazzling Gleam and Stomping Tantrum. After some back and forths I was able to pin my opponent. Sunny Day once again caught me off guard, but when you're spending a turn changing the weather, you're missing out on being disruptive or putting in some meaningful damage. Once again I should have just double protected here. Was not expecting the normal gem and definitely didn't see the acid spray strategy. It wasn't enough however, as I was able to go out after firing off the Dazzling Gleam. More Whimsicott shenanigans. Seeing one just reminds me of a Russian roulette where it can destroy you after using one of 6 moves. Didn't expect to see a Blood Moon Ursaluna, and one of those rare instances where I couldn't safely bring in Hippowdon. Iron Bundle was able to flex its worth however, and proved that size isn't everything. Well, this was embarrassing. Perfectly highlights how leads are everything in this tournament. Again, the leads here weren't the greatest. Once Miraidon goes down, there isn't much Hippowdon can do in a 1v2 situation. Final game of the event, I wanted to end on a high and take one more win, push myself beyond the win-loss ratio of 2 to 1, basically not having my total losses be half of my win count. So with a grand total of 31 wins and 14 losses, I'm pretty proud of what I was able to achieve, especially when many of the games all came down to which partner Pokemon I sent in to support Miraidon. I really loved this format. Being forced to work with a dragon Pokemon that either sets weather or terrain was such an interesting concept. I enjoyed practicing during the lead up and working out which staples I wanted on my team and which strategies I could work with to catch out my opponent. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Until next time, make sure to train hard and team build to the best of your abilities, and I'll see you guys in the next one.